everyone, and welcome back to Crowley House Flower Farm and Nursery. Today I'm in the Orchard Heights greenhouse and I'm seeding up some pansies and violas for the nursery. I'm also going to be planting some of them out for the cut flower production as well. So there's quite a few of them. I thought I would run through the different ones that I'm seeding up today and kind of pop some pictures of what they look like on the screen. Pansies are one of those things that just bring so much joy, especially in the time of year where there's nothing grows in the gardens. And other than those little pansies with their beautiful little faces just kind of poking up, they're one of the spring joys, along with all the crocuses, the daffodils, the tulips, and all those spring early bloomers. The other thing that I really like is primroses. Primroses are one of my favorites to grow in the garden as well, because when I was a little kid, you know, they were like probably, I don't know, back then, maybe 50 cents each. And my dad would take us girls down to the local nursery and we got to pick out our own that we got to plant in the little front bed of our house. So it was really kind of fun. So those have a special spot in my heart as well. But anyways, I digress again. So these are what we're running through here. So I just have a few that I thought I would run through with you. And this is Imperial Antique Shades. And a lot of these are chosen for cut flower production, but we can also use them in the garden as well. So all smear king size mix, also just a really pretty mix there. And then there's two different ones of these, Frizzle Sizzle Mini Tapestry, and then we have Frizzle Sizzle Yellow Blue Swirl. And then this one I've just had for a while, so I'm not sure how well it's gonna do, but this is Moulin Rouge Mixed Colors, blooms brightly colors and extra frill. Woohoo! I love it. Compact plant size is ideal for containers. It's an annual, height 8 inches. So pretty short. Great for like the front of the borders. This one I got from Baker Creek. It's kind of fun. You can't really see it in the photo, but it kind of has this little bit of a fleck. It's like a blue freckle to it, which says that that's the name. So that's kind of cool. And then I had some geranium seeds left over from last year. We did really well with them. So I'm doing some Maverick Apple Blossom again, which I had such great success with that. I want to do that one again. And then I just had some violets left over that I wanted to try and seed up. I do have some that came on and did really well, so I'm just going to do the rest of the pack. It's just getting old and I want to put this in the woodlands here at the Orchard Heights house. So I'm grabbing that one and doing that one. So this is everything that I have today, and it's going to go pretty quickly, I think. I'm going to get my seed trays going and start from there. So I have a Pro Mix seed starting mix that I picked up at the landscape shop. This is a finer soil and really great for starting seeds. It's just a little bit finer, and then the seeds have a easier time, those roots, to go down through. Now, if you didn't have seed starting soil, that's fine. You don't technically need it. I've started it in just regular potting soil that we have that's actually from the same brand as this, and it works really well. They do sell online. I can try and bop it below in the link so you can kind of see. It's a little more expensive, but they come in huge bales. Okay, so pansies, let's just talk about them for a minute, because they are beautiful in the gardens and they give that pop of color that you really need at the start of the season. And then again, you can pop them out in fall, which I love that. Just kind of filling in the gaps where you just really want to keep that color going in your garden. They're great for containers, and they are just come in so many different shades. Like every year you can choose something different, and they're just very inexpensive. Now, these are seeded on the top of the soil, so it needs light to germinate. You'll want to start them about 8 to 10 weeks prior to your last frost date, and then cover the seeds lightly. I like to use like a vermiculite like we did with the snapdragons last week. And then I like to bottom water. So I'll get a tray and then just set, a tray without holes in it, set it, my little containers in there or my seed starting tray, and then just kind of fill the bottom and let it soak up to the top. You just have to be a little careful that they're not sitting in water. You want that to soak it up completely, especially like if you're doing soil blocking or anything like that, which is a great way to do some of these things. You avoid all that plastic. But if you're doing it that way, same principle applies there. You just don't want your seedlings to be soaking and sopping and sitting in water. You can also just mist the top of the soil, and that works really well. Misting the soil, I would probably do that twice a day just to make sure. And pansies can tolerate a bit of frost. So where your winters are mild, like we're here in Oregon, a zone 8B, 9, something like that. It's changing, and so we're able to grow year round, which in some ways I'd love to have a break, but it is what it is. We can work year round. So I'm going to start them in a pretty small tray, and then I'll bump them up once they germinate into a larger cell, probably like a 4-inch to sell off, or we'll bump them into the greenhouse, and usually I'll plant them right alongside our sweet peas in the greenhouse, and that allows them to have not quite enough light, and then they stretch really nicely, and we can use those for designing in weddings and things like that. They just make the most lovely cut flower. I, hands down, love them. So if you're a flower farmer or even want to just have them in your cutting garden, plant them where they kind of are stretching for light, and you're going to get a really nice long stem length for that. If you do that, you want to just kind of have it in an area where you get cooler temperatures. So we always plant ours towards the back of the greenhouse where the doors are, and that allows them to kind of have that cool of the day because the doors are open, and then also stretch for that light. I don't know, it just works really well for us. But if you have them in their garden, just plant them next to something that's under shade and they'll do the same thing. So these germinate in 4 to 7 days. They like it cooler. So even if you had it in your basement or something like that, so 66, 67 degrees is ideal for them. So it makes it really nice that you don't have to like kind of baby it as far as the heat goes. And then once you start having them old enough to be transplanted or set outside, you just kind of want to harden them off before you just directly put them in the garden. I mean, that's pretty much every gardener knows to do those simple things. Just allow them to have some days of sunlight where they're just kind of dapple light and not too harsh of weather, but just kind of getting them used to it. If you're growing inside, sometimes I like to have a little fan going just to allow the stems to kind of like flutter in it, and then they become stronger seedlings. So, you know, if you baby a plant, it needs babied out in your garden is my theory. If you kind of just let it go and let it do its thing, pay attention to it, of course, but kind of like make it struggle, it's going to be a fantastic plant in your garden. Light requirements when you're planting them out in the garden, they can tolerate shade and sun. So they don't love like direct sun all day long, like the hot afternoon. They'll kind of wilt down just a little bit, but I've found that they just do amazing, you know, but they'll do better if they have kind of a little bit of protection from the afternoon sun. I don't know if you've had luck with that. You can bot me a note below and let me know what pansies have done for you. A lot of times people are just growing them in their containers or small beds, things like that, tucking them in where they just need to fill a hole, and it's inexpensive. So that's the number one thing about it. I'm gonna get to seeding. So one thing here at the Orchard Heights place is I'm not set up at all with my usual seed starting kind of process. So it's a little bit like, okay, what do I do? So normally I would have like a trough that would have all my soil in it, and then I would be able to easily seed or fill my trays. But right now we just cleared out this space, so it's a little disjointed. We have to get everything properly working. If you've missed those videos, those are our videos that we're releasing on Sunday, which are I guess the last 3 Sundays about restoring this old greenhouse. It's kind of cool that I'm like at least working in here today. The soil is really, really moist already. It must have been outside, but I wanted to show you guys a little trick that we like to do when we're seeding these up. So we fill our tray first with as much soil as, you know, you kind of wipe it in, and then you'll take another tray that's about the same size as, or is the same size, not about, is the same size as what you're seeding up. And then you place it on top like this, and then you can kind of gently press down. You don't want to press too hard so that it compacts it, but you want to just kind of get it down a little bit. Usually the outside edges are where you miss the most soil. So if you were just to go ahead and put your seed right into that first layer that you put in, there's all this air that is down below, and especially that outer ring, you generally will have like just hardly any soil. I'll show you here. So this is what I'm talking about. Like you can tell the outer edge is, there's a lot less soil, and then you come around here and this looks great through here, and then, you know, obviously closest to me, great, but the further away you are, the less soil you have. So I got all my tags labeled. That's priority. Number 1 first, otherwise you forget. But I want to show you these seeds. They are pretty tiny. Not as tiny as our snapdragons that we seeded last week, but I mean pretty close. So at least, you know, like I could roll it up onto the edge here and grab, you know, a seed or two. These seed pretty readily for you. And so it's not, you know, like you could do 2 seeds per cell tray and get pretty good germination. Well, that job is done. I actually had room to do a little bit of Dusty Miller. I did, I think, Silver Lace. And then I did my Maverick Geraniums. Apple Blossom was the name on that one. So I was able to get all of those done. It feels really good. I went ahead and misted them all and then put them into the basement on a grow rack. They're good to go. And I hope this video inspired you to start some of your own violas or pansies. So Brayden and I went to Owl's Nursery, which is in Woodburn, not too far from our place here, about 45-minute drive. And they had a beautiful selection of primroses and pansies. So I thought I would just pick a few up, and we are going to plant them here at the Orchard Heights house. We are having a baby shower for a great grandbaby for my dad. And it's his second one now, which is kind of cool. So I thought just to kind of spruce up the front porch. This house is built in 1951, and so it has like this planter box that runs along the front of it. It's not my favorite, but I have plans to redo it, and it is starting to deteriorate. So this will be a project down the road. But for now, what I wanted to do, just to welcome our guests, they're gonna come in about a week. I thought that I would just pop in a few pansies. Pansies do really well, especially in the wintertime, as that pop of color in zones 6 through 10. And in mild winters, like here in Oregon, we have very mild winters in the Willamette Valley where we're able to grow flowers year round. As you know, we're already cutting our anemones, and they are grown outside, and they are beautiful, but we can also grow things like pansies and primroses, and so they are already in the garden centers and with beautiful selection. So I picked out a few with Brayden. I think it's delicious. And I also grabbed a couple heucheras, and I grabbed just a fern that I'm gonna plant into this box. This gets morning sun, afternoon shade, and it works really, really well. I just think having a little bit of color in your garden this time of year just can bring so much joy and also help with those winter blues. I tend to get into a little bit of a funk from now until the end of February. So just having that something when you come home from work that just greets you, even if it's just a pot of flowers or something like that next to your door, a little hanging basket, whatever it is that's just kind of tucked up, just welcoming you home is such, I don't know, it just fills the heart and just makes it so much better when it's wintertime and you're a little bit, it's cold and you just want to tuck yourself away. All right, well, I know what I was going to talk to you guys about. The one thing you have to watch out for with pansies and primroses, slugs love them. So you have to use a little bit of Sluggo. We use Sluggo Plus or Sluggo just depending on what we have. So it just sprinkling a little bit of that down will help kind of with them chomping away at the flowers. So I got a variegated winter Daphne to go kind of towards the end of this box here where the sun will hit it and you'll get a really nice smell. This time of year, that's always just so nice to have that sweet scent of spring. And so that's where that is. My mom used to have a Daphne kind of tucked right in here. And so I thought my dad would really like that. And he really likes the variegated look of the leaves. You can kind of see it here. It looks really, really nice. It just adds a little bit of interest with all the green around and against the green of the house. I think that's going to look a lot better. This is the fern that I got, which is a Korean rock fern, and I just thought I might tuck it into this little pot. I was going to take this pot out and do something different, but I think I'm just going to keep it for now and pop in some of the pansies and stuff like that into that one. And then I got a sarcococca, which is a dwarf one, and again, this one has that little beautiful scent to it with that little bellflower type underneath it. This is a winter box as well, I think is what they call it. And then these are the sarcococca that I got, which this is Paris Coral Bell. I like the name of it. So, and I like the color too. Again, it's kind of got that two-toned look, and I think it's going to accent those pansies and primroses really well. You guys, look at that primrose. Isn't that just gorgeous? When it opens, it kind of has that peachy color to it, and I thought that would look nice as well. Okay, I'm going to get planting up and see if I can beautify this box. I also have this hanging basket that I thought I would pop some fresh ones in for added color to it. I thought that would look nice. Isn't that kind of a fun little hanging basket? And then here next to the door, I had this all decorated for Christmas, but I thought I might just pop one in a little pot there. So I got most of my supplies. I just need a trowel now. But I have all-purpose flower food that I'm going to add in. And then I went ahead and pulled my soil conditioner that I used in the greenhouse. And I'm just going to zhuzh up some in this bed here before I plant. I ask a lot of this garden, and so it's good to give it some love every once in a while, and that's what I'm going to do. I found this cute little pot that I'm going to just use for the front porch. Just next to the door is a nice welcome pot. Some things to keep in mind is to go ahead and deadhead your flowers, and you can just do that by pinching your pansies like that. Super easy. Otherwise they can get a little bit leggy, so you just kind of trim them back and they will keep producing. So it'll reward and reward all winter long. And this is actually a project that just really does help you feel like you can get into the garden, you know, and helps you feel invigorated, I think. At least me. So you can see kind of the slug damage on here. I found actually a snail in here that was dead, but I'll show you what they look like. This is the little snail that I found. It's kind of cute. So Riley and I considered painting this brick maybe a black. I don't know, give us a comment below. I think it would match really well with the color of the house for now. We do have plans if we stay here. We're not sure, it's still in the air. But if we stay here longer than 5 years, we might go ahead and paint the house a creamy white color, just to make sure that the flowers and the gardens that we're putting in here will really shine. And then what else? Oh, I know. I asked Riley, I have like a trellis that this pot here, it just needs something. And so I have her bringing it, and I'm just going to pop in some sweet pea seeds, and then hopefully that will just kind of grow up through it and be fantastic, because I feel like this pot is huge and it just kind of sits there. In the summer it looks good, but I feel like it needs a little bit of height. I'm not a huge fan of garden art at all. I like certain pieces and I like them in certain areas, but I'm not a huge fan of it. And I like it just placed around a little bit at a time. Now I want to show you guys another thing really quickly, and maybe you have a suggestion for me. My grandmother, the one that gave me all the tropicals that are in her other little greenhouse at the Crowley house, she had a lot, she had a Spanish Revival home down in LA. It had this beautiful, like, ironwork that they had all over as garden art, and I'm thinking that I want to take, it's like a candelabra, but I'm wondering if I can figure out how to make it into a hanging basket kind of thing for the sidewall. I have some ideas for it, and it'd be a fun little project to put together, but I'll have to kind of take a peek at it and see if I can make it work. So I don't know if I can fit something down in there and then secure it onto this. I know Jason thought he might be able to weld, Jason being my husband, something into the back and then be able to put kind of like a coconut fiber in and then be able to plant. Yeah, I mean, it's really pretty. We have some other pieces that go to it, so it'd be kind of fun to make them into planter boxes of some sort, because otherwise it just sits here and yeah, looks okay. So I got the hanging basket spruced up, put a little fertilizer in it. I went ahead and just potted a single little pansy right here next to the table. I am gonna add one more inside of my little Gothic, I don't know what this is, lantern, but I thought I would just go ahead and add another one in there or two. Riley's bringing me a few more from the garden center at Crowley House. And then I popped one down here, you know, just working my way around. And then I'm not done with this yet. She's bringing me a few more planters. And then I thought to go ahead and put in, I have like a black iron trellis that's gonna go here. And I'm just gonna grow some sweet peas up it. And my mom, she's from Texas, so she had some of these like stars around. They're super cute, but I probably wouldn't have them up. But I have them up because it reminds me of her and it's kind of fun. So I might paint that. I don't know. We'll see. Just trying to, you know, make it all cohesive and put my stamp on it too a little bit. It's a little hard. So for now, I have this trellis here, and this will just have some sweet peas on it. Here shortly, I haven't put the seed in yet, but I will. Well, that job was quick and easy. It looks okay, you know. It'll look better in a couple weeks once it fills out. But if you can, get yourself some pansies or primroses and pot them up close to your door for a very welcome winter look. Okay, until next time, much success in all you do and grow. And we'll be seeing you shortly back here at Crowley House Flower Farm and Nursery very soon. Bye-bye.